Oof. So Aiden Ross, Aiden Ross and Glasses Malone are beefing, and it's gotten serious over Doechii, yeah, how would I pronounce that? Mm. All right, you know what we do. We're gonna talk about it, right? If you've been seeing what's been going on, if you haven't been seeing it, I'm going, of course, as I usually do, pin it in the comments, the link. But Aiden Ross and Glasses Malone are beefing, and now we're not talking about just like content beef. This is not content beef. This is serious beef, physical beef, not deadly beef, but physical beef. And this is all over the way Aiden Ross has been talking about Doechii. Everything going on with Doechii, her last year, right? She won what is it, the Oscars or Grammys or whatever it is, and realistically to me, I'm just being honest. She came out of nowhere, like out of left field. It was like, I heard the song, of course, that was going crazy, trending, and then boom, she wins at this and that. Of course, a lot of people have different opinions about that, right? And of course, you are free to have your own opinion. That's all cool. Now, I feel the way you deliver the opinion is what matters. Same, just like my channel, everybody reacts. You know what I'm saying? But I chose to react in an empathetic way from multiple perspectives, seeing things not just, oh, this person did wrong. Seeing it as I could have done the same. I could have made the same mistake if I was raised in a certain way, or even just generally, like if I was put in certain circumstances. In this situation, Aiden Ross feels or felt like Doechii just released a song and she was addressing, some things. She has some lyrics in there, and Aiden Ross felt that that was addressed to her. Now, the way he's going about it, cussing her out or calling her out her name and all that good stuff. He also does his own song and all this good stuff. Um, I think the approach is where the issue is, right? People feel that he is racist, right? Because of course, if you've seen Aiden Ross content or whatever it is, I don't even keep up with it. I've seen the clips. He is somebody that I consider him similar, not exactly the same, but similar to Adam 22 in the sense of like they have their beliefs, and whoever believes whatever, that's their business. You know what I'm saying? And which is, I mean, similar to me as well, but theirs is more, they're willing to go a little radical with it. You know what I'm saying? What's going on? What's up? What's up, Robert? So they're willing to go a little radical with it. Me, no. You know what I mean? I believe what I believe. You can't change my mind unless you give me logic, right? But I'm not. You know what I'm saying? So with me, right, this situation with Aiden and Glasses Malone could have easily been solved if Aiden had reacted, just a little bit, just with a little bit more respect, decorum, as they say, right? But his approach, quite honestly, calling a girl all sorts of bitches and that, you know what I mean? Like, somebody said something, right? They were like, "Yo, if a bully came to tell you that your house was burning, would you not listen to him just because it's a bully?" Yeah, most people will not listen. They're gonna think the bully is just saying stuff to say stuff. You know what I'm saying? And it's not right, but yeah, you're supposed to take the message, not the messenger. But in this situation, similar thing, right? This whole Aiden Ross thing is like, yo, like, bro, the way you deliver the message matters, bro. Like, you can say she was talking about you, cool, okay. You can talk back about her, but the way you talk about her is going to matter. Now, he calling her a bit all that woo woo. Glasses Malone sees that. He's like, yo, hell no, bro. And he says what I'm saying. He's like, bro, you can address this a different way, dog. But you ain't gonna be saying all this, and there's already an undertone of racism from your, you know what I'm saying, from you and your camp or whatever it is, right? the way he initially started with addressing it, I got it. But then he got to the point where he's like, man, I'ma handle it. You know what I mean? It's gonna get physical, and you can understand why he's handling it that way, right? Why he's saying it that way. That's because of how he was raised, or how he, in the sense of how he grew up. You know what I'm saying? The streets, all that good stuff. In the business world, to somebody that's into a regular person, to I mean, a regular person. Realistically, I was gonna say a white person, but to just a regular person, bro, you just threatened me, bro. I'm about to call the police on you, bro. Like what? What? That's blackmail. That's not blackmail. That's threat. That's da da da. Yeah, you did it publicly. So but he understands that, and he's willing to go through that because Glass Malone, if y'all keep up with his content, he is intellectual, like conscious to a sense. You know what I'm saying? He's aware. So he's saying this, and which he addresses as well, right? So the for me, his approach, I understand what he's saying, and I agree with his message that, hey, there's a way you can say this that people wouldn't have people can hint a racist undertone with what you're saying, you know what I mean, or whatever it is, because whether you like it or not, you are a white, Jewish, whatever you want to call yourself guy, and she is a black lady, you know what I'm saying? You just, or she's a lady. As a man, the way, da, 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 all that good stuff. Now, you can't tell somebody how to react, especially if they feel like they've been called out or something like that. But some people will say, why? Some people will say Adin called her out first when he made reference, or when he reacted to the umbrella thing that she did, at one of those, I forgot what it was called. It's like it was like a, what do they call it? Fashion thing, right? I can't remember what it's Met Gala or whatever. It was some kind of fashion thing, right? He reacted and he was like, he lost taste. That's when he didn't like her, right? And he was saying all that good stuff. So some people say that was when it started. Cool. While some others will say, yo, bro, like she said something about that. But realistically, bro, like, it doesn't really matter. It's just, I think it's the way you deliver it, right? And from the way she delivers hers, she doesn't necessarily use, crazy words and all that good stuff, in the sense of like she's not cussing out people. So I think people are more like, okay, bro, why don't you just react to her in that sense? G Malone is like, bro, why don't you react to her in that sense? But of course, Adin is Adin. As I said, if you follow his content, you understand he doesn't care. So he, of course, responds back, blah 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 blah, and this whole thing is just something I simply just see as, um, it won't end well for the G Malone party, simply because, I mean, as you see, Adin is flexing the, oh, I'm a Jew and I'm a this and that, you know what I mean? Um, I'm not white, which I think is also, that's part of the, Adin's wrong, what I mean, in my personal opinion, but you can't tell nobody how to act. He's wrong in the way he delivered it. He's wrong in the way he's behaving, right? You calling people out their name, stereotyping them, you know what I'm saying? Telling G Malone that he and his, or boy that he was on the podcast with, they should go take care of their kids and their baby mamas, that and apparently G Malone has no kids, right? So you can't say stuff like that. That's what they mean by racist overtone, my nigga. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you say things like that and you say I'm not racist. But would you say that if you were talking to, let's just say Asmon Gold, right? Would you tell him go take care of your baby mama and all that? Because you wouldn't perceive him to have baby mamas, right? Because stereotypically you don't think he's, see, that's what they mean by racism undertone, or racist undertone, stuff like that. And that's kind of the whole idea. So for me, as I said, this situation, of course, Adin is also flexing that his security of cops. What's good? Real twins. He's also flexing that his security off-duty cops. So now, as I said, the G Malone approach did not work perfectly, because now you've made this intention known, even though you're willing to go down, but it doesn't serve the purpose. See, this is the thing about emotions. People don't seem to understand. Like, emotions are we have to deal with that. It's just our default. Some people, are born genetically not genetic genetically unable to feel emotions. Those are rare cases, 1 in a million, whatever, right? But for most human beings, emotions are things that you can't necessarily control when it happens to you. It's gonna happen, right? You know what I mean? But you can control what you do with it, right? But emotions can lead you more, depending on how you channel it. If you just let it run wild, it can lead you, And this G Malone situation, I feel like he let his emotions, you know what I mean? Because if you really wanted to do something, as they say, G's moving in silence. Like, he's a G. We know that. I don't think he even really wants to do anything. I think he wants the issue to stop. But the approach to a kid like that, that's already showing you that he's not necessarily ignorant, but he just doesn't care, threatening him, and you knowing that he has power or money, right? And he is really, really on the clean and cool side of life, that's not going to do anything. Like, he's just going to feel like, okay, I got money, bro. Like, shoot, you come near me, exactly as he said, you come near me, bro, we're going to handle that. You know what I mean? And it's not going to, your goal is not achieved at all. At this point now, he's just going to use that energy of, I just defeated this guy, you know what I'm saying, to keep going more. So you have to always look at the end goal. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. Emotions sometimes blind you from seeing the end goal. You know what I mean? That's just the truth about it. That's why they always tell you, cool off, go, take some time. You know what I mean? The crazy part, some people don't know, I'm gonna give two from my experience. There are two ways to handle emotions. You can cool off, go, just chill, relax. You know what I mean? Think of other things, as they say, meditate, whatever, meditate on other things to take your mind off. Or the other method, you meditate on, focus more and more on that thing. Eventually, you bask in that emotion so much that it kind of just dulls out. So let's just say, for example, I mean, this is without exterior influence. What I mean is, I'm gonna give you, as I'm saying, for example, someone pisses you off, like really get you mad, like, what, I don't know, I'm just saying they insult your mother and you're really pissed. Like, how can they talk about your mother? Walk off, go sit down, and just keep saying, how can they, just, but this is where control is necessary though. Sit down, like, and bask, like, why am I angry? So this is the thing. You have to bask in the anger, like, stay in that anger. Like, yo, I'm angry, but why am I angry? He said something about my moms. He doesn't even know my moms. How can he talk about my moms? Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm angry. If I take my anger out on this nigga now, then what? These are, stay in that anger, but you ask yourselves question. Okay, now what I want to do to him? I'm gonna do this. In your mind, visualize doing all that stuff to him. Then after that, what? I'm being so serious. Like, you stay in your mind and do what you plan on doing. Or let's set yourself free, but do it in your mind, right? I'm being honest. This works for me a lot. By the time you do all that, bro, the emotion, in the sense of, I guess you've already done it, because they say the brain doesn't know when you physically do something as opposed to mentally do something. So I guess because you've lived in that thing and you've actually done it to this person in your mind, you feel a little bit lighter, in real life. You know what I'm saying? I'm just telling you, you know what I mean? As opposed to the other method that works too, which is cooling off. You just think of happy thoughts and just, let that emotion pass. So these are two methods. Whichever one you want to do, I think works. But I think if G, had basked in that, what I'm saying? Like I always say, think twice, act right, right? If he had thought about it like that, I think it would have gone differently. This is just, what I mean? Because I've looked at this situation and, it's just, I don't see, because this is the thing. As you also notice from my, my brand or my channel, whatever it is, when I talk, I give my perception, my perspective on things, right? I don't try to convince you on what to think. I'm not telling you how to think, because at the end of the day, you can't do that. People are going to think what they're going to think. You know what I'm saying? You can't force nobody to think. You can't oppress nobody to think. Even if you oppress somebody for a period of time, eventually the truth is going, or the way they think is going to come out. Like how, so it's like, what's that saying? Whatever is in the dark is going to eventually come to light. It's just really saying that you can't suppress a person's nature for too long. You know what I'm saying? If they want to change their nature, they can, but you can't. that's just the truth about it. So it's like you trying to getting mad at somebody is cool, but you thinking that you can tell somebody to make somebody stop doing something doesn't work. That's it's just that's not how and especially in the world we are now, where it's kind of putting everybody on a balanced playing field. Before street ish, what I'm saying, was scary. Everybody's scared of street niggas. You know what I'm saying? Hood stuff, all that good stuff. People, street niggas are scared of cops. You know what I'm saying? You feel what I'm saying? All this fear was there. Now there's so much of a balanced playing field. You know what I'm saying? Before, cops would run through street niggas. Now see how many street niggas or how many criminals get away with stuff, because now they know there's more laws now that help them get away, or they just know more. Same thing, back in, you could say male and female, same things with men and women back in the day. Women were more oppressed or whatever it is. Now women are, you know what I'm saying? So it's like everything back then that was like uneven, where there was fear on unevenness, is kind of leveling out. So you feel me? When it comes to the street nigga and the civilian, now that fear of, oh, he's a street nigga, he might do something to me, is completely going away, or them they're gone. All right, you know what I'm saying? Because now they feel like either they're on top or the same playing field. You threaten me, bro, you going to jail, or I'm gonna kill you legally, or some shit, like, you know what I'm saying, something like that. So him doing all that, it speaks more of emotion and doesn't prove the point. Don't get me wrong, the message is strong, and I approve the message, as I've said. You know what I'm saying? But you don't want, he doesn't, he was talking about, how a Crip's gonna handle all that. Bro, you don't want to put all that stuff on, you know what I mean? Because now you're making it seem like a RICO situation. Like you in charge and you controlling people to handle something. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if so this is my whole thing with that situation. I think Burke could have definitely handled it differently. Aiden Ross, for sure. And his approach to this is just trash. The approach is absolutely garbage. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? G's one, his approach is emotional. On the right side, I mean, anybody that sees this will see it, say it's on the right side, but just emotional. You know what I mean? And if anybody is in his camp, I'm in the line. You know what I'm saying? If anybody's in his camp, I'll say, yo, talk to bruh, try to get bruh. He put it on his moms and all that good stuff too. So everybody knows he's serious about it. So try to get him, to see reason, because, and don't let the pride thing get the better of him, because him putting it on his moms, he might feel like, oh, they ain't no taking it back. That's not what your mom's gonna say. So don't go crashing out in her name, you know what I'm saying, and think that she's gonna be supporting it. That when a lot of people put it, oh, I put it on this person, I put it on that person. That don't mean that's what that person wants you to do. So don't, because when you cross over to that next side, I don't think that person's gonna be happy. They're gonna be like, bro, what the hell? You know what I'm saying? And now it's on me. Basically my fault that your ass is over here because you put it on me. Now you felt like you had to hold on to your standard. No, nigga. I think I'm gonna make if y'all know I'm a filmmaker as well, I think I'm gonna make a film on that, or a skit or something on that, because I think, what I mean. Nah, I feel like bruh should, because he's valued in the community, so it's like no one wants to lose or hear any negative situation about his so he it's not something that we advise him to go crashing out, or put himself in any situation like that. Address it, say you don't support it, you don't agree with it. I get it, it's really getting under your skin, but hey, what I mean, going fisticuffs with it, or hands and all that, it's not necessarily the way to go. I think even media wise try to I won't say harass, but media wise try to get to him, you know what I'm saying, and all that good stuff, you know what I mean? There are other ways to handle things, like, for people that, like, you think about how this, like, clear, obvious one, this thing that just happened with Trump and Venezuela type shit. People in authority, they don't throw hands. You know what I'm saying? A lot of guys, I get it. You know what I'm saying? It's the way we, in the streets we handle business and all that, but that's not progress, and that's not, what I mean? We trying to grow. You feel me? So it's like you can't keep trying to handle things street way when you trying to evolve past the streets. Not just because you get emotional, you just crumble under the and go back to what you know. Yeah, that's not an excuse. You feel what I'm saying? What's going on? What's going on? No Kaya. No Kaya. But yeah, so this whole G Malone thing, I definitely think bruh could, honestly and truly just, he could do with some um restraint, right? When nobody thinks he's pussy, nobody thinks he's, you know what I'm saying? If he doesn't, you know what I mean? I'm pretty sure a lot of people. I'm not the only one. I'm pretty sure that's saying stuff like this, that he shouldn't crash out over this thing, not because it's not worth it, but it's just, you know, come on, you know what I mean? Like, that's hey, some people bring up this. No, last thing I'm gonna say on this. Some people bring up the thing that he's crashing out for a lady that says that men, what's it called? Uh, Heterosexual men, which is straight men, are red flags, right? Uh, he's not, I don't think he cares about that aspect. I mean, he's more caring about her being black, less about her being male or female or supporting male or female. You know what I'm saying? So, uh, this one says, no Fekaya says, Yo, Keza. Wait, what? What is that? What is no fuck? What is that? What is that? You Keza? What is that? What does that mean, bro? Anyway, well, yeah, man. I had that, seeing that, and I was like, I gotta react to it. And I'm sleepy. My eyes, look, I'm so sleepy. Been trying to stay awake for a little bit, but I had to do this reaction for sure. You know what I'm saying? Had to let this one out. You know what I'm saying? Pause. But yeah, man. Don't forget, hit that follow button wherever you're watching from. Give it a thumbs up. Give it a like. Share your opinions, your thoughts. You know what I'm saying? And let me know. It says, what is react to? I should react to what? I can't. I don't know what you're saying. What I should react to? You Keza? I don't know if you read what you put up there. What is? Type it again, bruh. Because I don't. And if I'm reacting to it, you ain't gonna be able to see it because this is a phone reaction. So it's not like you can see what I'm seeing. Yeah. This is more of I guess you could say a blog, talking head reaction style, you know, and less of a what you call it. But anyway, I'm about to slide out. Oh, I gotta clip this and then put it on the Broad Talk network. So if you ain't subscribed or following the Broad Talk network, make sure you do so on YouTube and on Instagram and on TikTok and on Facebook. We everywhere, global. Anyway, peace and blessings. Um, oh, I got a video coming up on the Allmighty Vibes Production YouTube channel. Today I was just practicing my cinematography because I haven't done that in a minute. I haven't shot no sketches, no skits, no nothing in a minute because I'm trying to move and transform, upgrade to more professional shots, you could say. You know what I'm saying? More cinematic shots, right? But I've been so busy with everything and life and all that. But today I was able to practice, and I'm gonna check it out. I'm for sure check it out. Um, I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna check it out. Music. Yeah, I ain't got nothing to listen to music on, man. So, yeah. But I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna check it out. But anyway, all right, yo. I'm gonna check out the music. You said Caesar or Keza first. That name is crazy. You Keza, whatever the fuck. Open music. That one is hey. You know that middle thing you put right there already can have my channel whacked. You already know how you know how that goes. You feel me? You already know how that goes. Them folks don't be playing. You know what I mean? You know, I'm all about oneness and all that, but no, I ain't talking about the copyright. I'm talking about the name, bruh. I'm not talking about. I'm talking about the name, dog. Not the open part. It says open. What's open? Open mean, bruh? I don't even think you understand what I'm saying, but that's all good. Either way, I'm about to get off though. Pete. Oh, jeez.